Another DreamWorks movie, and here we are still waiting for How to Train Your Dragon 3. The Boss Baby is directed by Tom McGrath and written by Michael McCullers, and it stars the voice talents of Alec Baldwin, Steve Buscemi, Jimmy Kimmel, and Lisa Kudrow, among others. And in this movie we have a narration by Tobey Maguire as an adult, telling the story of how he, as a young man, came to know his young brother. This baby comes in a taxi cab, he dresses in a suit, he comes on dancing even though there's no music for him to listen to. We are hearing it as an audience, but not him. And this baby has infiltrated this family for a very specific reason, which I will not spoil, but it has to do with the job that these parents have. This woman is pregnant, however, then the baby comes on a taxi cab, and she's not pregnant anymore. And that's not the only logic problem with the movie. But as always, let me start with the good things, if there are any. The Boss Baby has some good characters and character development, especially when it comes to relationships. The bond that develops between the baby and Tim, the older brother, is actually pretty sweet. It's pretty nice and it's pretty well done in terms of storytelling. There are actually some very cool sequences in this film where it kind of converts to 2D animation even though it's still 3D, when we see Tim imagining some of his adventures when he's playing around with his parents or with his toys. He even has this alarm clock next to his bed, and it's pretty much Gandalf. Even some of the lines, when he's imagining that he's talking to the alarm clock, are some of Gandalf's lines from Lord of the Rings, and they were pretty funny, actually. And it's fun to see that this kid has such a vivid imagination, because you can relate to that. For instance, when I was a young boy and I played with some toys in my room, I would imagine things so much. Because I always had figures, but I never had, let's say, the locations that some of the adventures I saw in movies or in TV shows were set on. So you had to have a pretty big imagination, and I could relate to that aspect with this kid, Tim. There are also some funny bits about how the world of where this Boss Baby came from works. It's very Barney Stinson-like. Even the sequence in the beginning where we get to know how the babies truly come to be, it is very much like the transformation of Barney Stinson from the hippie to the suit-wearing man-slut that we know. And as I said, once the brothers stop bickering with each other and they start working together for a common goal, and that is the goal that the baby came here to achieve, the movie gets kind of endearing and you get to feel something for the characters. Again, they become a little more palpable and lovable. But besides that, there's not much to like in this film. Again, the script, and this should not be something that bothered me so much, this movie constantly breaks its own rules. For instance, as I said, there are some very fun sequences where Tim is imagining that he's playing around and he's in space, or he's in the high seas as a pirate, or he's a policeman, or he's an adventurer on the Congo. And when you get those sequences of imagination from him, the movie is pretty enjoyable. The animation is stupendous, it looks completely different, it is very retro animation. Again, it's still 3D, but they painted and do it in a style of 2D animation. In technical terms, it's wonderful to see how they could do this so well. But then as the movie progresses and you get more and more scenes of Tim imagining things, and then you see the contrast that is the reality, for instance, when the parents look at him, the line gets kind of blurred and you don't exactly know what is really happening. For instance, I showed some clips until now, and one of those clips you see Tim grabbing onto a police car that the baby is driving, and you see a car explode. And that sequence is imagination from Tim. But then when the parents look on to see what was going on, you still see the smoke and the mushroom cloud coming off of the car that just exploded. And there are many other sequences like that, and you start wondering, okay, it makes no sense, what is truly happening? And the movie never really answers that. I also gotta say, there's a very funny scene in this film where the baby tells Tim how things work. It's a very heavy exposition scene, and once he shows Tim something about how this world works, you completely get spoiled for the movie. Once he shows Tim something in this corporate world that he works in, then you know exactly what's going to happen, who exactly is who, who exactly wants to do what, then the plot gets dwindled down again. I don't think this is a bad movie, it's not a bad film, however, apart from a few sequences and the bond between these two brothers, there's nothing much. The bond is nice, it's endearing. I'm sure a lot of kids had felt this if they are the older brother when they were kids. I was the younger brother, so I didn't feel this. But if you're someone like me and you don't care for babies, and you actually care for puppies more, this will not be a very good plot for you. You will actually be rooting for who the protagonists are fighting against, let's say that. And so it really only becomes about a relationship that they both develop. And once you find out why Tobey Maguire as adult Tim is narrating this story and telling this story to someone, the movie again contradicts itself and you become even more unsure of what is truly going on and how this world truly works. There's something that happens at the very last scene of this film that it gets your mind thinking, and I don't want to think about the Boss Baby that much. If I ever happen to catch this movie on TV, sure, I will watch it because I appreciate the animation, and I appreciate the bits that I actually really liked in this film. For kids, it's perfect. It's actually, for kids, a very good film. For adults, you'll find one joke here or there, especially when the baby is showing Tim how his world works, and then they discuss how babies are made, and it's really, really funny. But apart from that, there's not much here. Good animation, a good bond developed between the two main characters, then the script just is full of holes and full of contradictions, and it takes some of the enjoyment away because you just can't take it out of your head. The Boss Baby has a good bond between characters, there are some very funny bits, incredible animation, and the all-around voice cast does a great job. But the script just is full of holes and contradictions, and your mind just can't take those off. You must think about them because they make no sense. They are very aggravating at some points. The Boss Baby is another babysitting movie just like The Smurfs The Lost Village. However, it has a much higher quality to it, I will say that. It's not a bad movie, but The Boss Baby, whether you watch it or not, your heart will go on. What did you think of The Boss Baby, my beautiful geekies? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Do you relate to any of these two characters? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know how bad do you want to see How to Train Your Dragon 3. Also, go check out the description below for all of my links, including the link for the Facebook group for the beautiful geeky community. Come join us so we can be geeky united. As always, thank you so much for watching, my beautiful geekies. You guys are the freaking best. Already have some very good reviews prepared for next week, including a review for 13 Reasons Why, because some of you geekies already convinced me to watch it. I'll see you all in those reviews, so until then, you stay beautiful and you stay geeky, and if you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and the bell so we can be geeky united!